Great lawyers don't always know how to build great law firms. Let's change that. Join Ben Gideon as he shares hard-won lessons from building his own financially successful law firm and practical insights from top law firm entrepreneurs, business consultants, and more. This is a podcast for lawyers, by lawyers. Welcome to Elevate, Build, and Grow Your Law Firm. Produced and powered by Law Pods.
Today's episode of the Elevate, Build, and Grow Your Law Firm podcast is brought to you by Supio. I just spent an hour doing a webinar with the Supio folks. It was great. We had the head of business development and also one of the lawyers from Texas who's been an early adopter of Supio and walked through some case models of how you use Supio to put a case together. It was very, very impressive. I would encourage everyone who doesn't yet have an AI platform for their law firm, if they're a plaintiff's side, personal injury, medical malpractice type of law firm, check out Supio and get the demo. Our podcast today is also brought to you by Vision Spark. Vision Spark is the company that helps law firms and other businesses find seconds in command. You know any seconds in command, Jeff?
That would be me. It's exactly where I want to be.
When I think of number two, I always think of Jeff.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that.
We have Vision Spark to credit for the search process that led us to Jeff, and then Jeff has led us to the holy grail of, it appears, to doubling our revenues in less than a year of your time at our firm. So it's all paid off very well. Anybody who needs a second in command like Jeff, I would encourage you to talk to Vision Spark. Our podcast is also brought to you by 1% for Planet. 1% for Planet, folks, is the organization that allows you to contribute 1% of your gross revenues to environmentally conscious nonprofits. Our firm has done that. It's a great organization that's allowed us to partner with some really terrific nonprofits in Maine and throughout northern New England, and we really would love to have other firms join us in that. And if you do join us in 1%, please reach out to us and we'll give you a plug on the show.
Welcome, everyone, to the Elevate, Build, and Grow Your Law Firm podcast. I'm co-host Jeff Wright, Chief Operating Officer at Gideon Asen. Our regular host, Ben Gideon, is unavailable today. I'm very broken up about that. So we are joined and pleased to introduce the man who puts the Asen in Gideon Asen, Taylor Asen, founder, owner, partner. Welcome, Taylor.
Thanks. I don't get a lot of shout outs on this podcast, so I'm glad to be here.
No, usually it's Ben talking about himself. So this is fantastic. And in addition to Taylor, we have a phenomenal guest here today, Mike Michalowicz, bestselling author, entrepreneur, speaker. I could probably go on and on, Mike, but welcome to the show.
It's an honor to be here. So thank you, Jeff, Taylor. Thank you both for having me.
Good. Well, Taylor and I just returned from 3 days out in Kansas City. Kansas City, out in Denver for a strategic retreat. So we did our annual strategic retreat and
Nice. Came
back invigorated. Is that the right word, Taylor?
I think that's right.
Yeah, I can see it. So we're ready to kick off 2026 and hit all our goals and exceed them. And I think Mike fits right into that with his background and everything. So, Mike, do you want to give everyone a little introduction?
Sure. I didn't do a retreat yet, but coincidentally, I am heading out to Denver. So maybe I'll follow suit with you guys.
Beautiful.
I'm leaving actually just in a little bit.
Go to the rodeo if you can.
Do a rodeo?
Yeah, it's a really
this time of year.
It's really a phenomenon. If you haven't ever been,
I have, but not in Denver, and I didn't think in the winter they did that.
All times.
Now you got it on my list.
It was interesting, especially
for
Cowboys
us. After all, right?
Us East Coasters. The rodeo was an experience.
Yeah. So just my quick background: I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, but became an author 15 years ago to really investigate all of the established beliefs I had around entrepreneurship and to challenge them. Because while as an entrepreneur, I wasn't consistently successful. In fact, I lost huge volumes of money. And I went in just to investigate everything and challenge it. What I found is there's established beliefs or axioms around so many things. And what I do is I look at the outcomes we get. So I'll give you just a quick example because I think we're going to touch on profit first. Is when I interview business owners, and for myself, I say, why did you start your business? And part of it is for financial freedom. There's other things to have impact on community, to have personal freedom, flexibility, but financial freedom is a big one. So I said, okay, that's why you started your business. The data shows that 83% of businesses are not profitable. Most businesses in the US and globally survive check by check. So I was like, hold on, lots of smart people are starting businesses to make money and almost no one's doing it. What's wrong? And that's when I discovered, the formula of sales minus expenses equals profit is a flawed formula. And I do this over and over. I do it around every element of entrepreneurship, and I've authored 10 books on different contrarian approaches to achieving the outcomes we want.
Yeah, I heard you talk at one point about the fact that the common wisdom is sort of the more money a firm has, the more innovative it can be. But in fact, that there's a counterintuitive principle that actually being lean can make you more innovative. Could you talk a little about that?
Yeah, so that's a constraint theory, and it's based upon a behavioral theorist named Northcote Parkinson. This is a guy from the 1950s who's studying how resources work. His original research was around time, but I think we all relate to this. What he concluded is the more time we avail to a task, the longer the task takes to complete. So if you think back to the college days, when the exam was a month away, how aggressively were you preparing? For most of us, it's like, a little here, a little here, a little there. When we have a test sprung on us that the professor says tomorrow morning there's a test, we go into cram mode and we get so much more studying done. So the less time we're giving, the more efficient we're in utilization of that time. So Parkinson's theory translates to all resources, including money. As more revenue increases in a firm, what typically happens is the spend increases uncannily at the same rate. But that's actually a subconscious behavior. More income, there's more available to spend, we find more ways of spending. Conversely, firms that run leaner, make less money available, and still want to drive those growth results have to find alternative paths instead of just throwing money at it. So they find alternative marketing methods, they find ways to stand out in their community, they find ways to get new business in new ways that otherwise in the past they would have thrown money at.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was going to say, Mike, you've always been very forthright and open about some of your challenges with your early success. I guess what advice would the Mike of today give the Mike of back then?
Don't buy your own BS. So, I started my first business right out of college. Not by the way, because I wanted to. I couldn't get a job, and so I started a business in computer systems, computer networks. And built that, sold it to a private equity organization. And it wasn't life-changing. Well, for me, it was life-changing money, but it wasn't like billions, but it was a lot of money. I then said, I got to pump and dump and grow lots of businesses and sell these things off quickly. So my second business was the hit. It was in computer crime investigation. My company was involved in the Enron trial investigation. That would put us on the map, and we just exploded. I sold that to a Fortune 500. And I'm like, I've got this all figured out, pump and dump. So I said, I'm going to just build a lot of companies simultaneously. I became an angel investor. I now call myself the angel of death because I sucked at it. I invested in businesses. Businesses were collapsing left and right, and I lost everything. I thought I knew everything. I didn't put significance in good fortune. I didn't make an Enron trial happen. It happened. I was in the right place at the right time. Now, I grabbed that tiger by its tail and I held on. But lots of entrepreneurial success is attributed to good fortune and good luck, but we don't give it any value. And so what I realized is I thought I was just a genius, and if I just showed up to anything, I could make anything work. And that was far from the case. Once I lost everything, I lost my house, I lost everything. The only thing I didn't lose was my family, thank God. I went through this reset of, I have limited talents in certain areas, and I need to lean into that. And the best way to grab opportunity is the environment around us is always changing. when an opportunity presents itself, to ask myself, am I really optimized to serve this? And am I going to go all in to make the most out of this moment? And so I've been much more selective in what I do and make sure it's much more in alignment with the few talents I have. So younger me, the other thing is, Jeff, younger me would have not listened. I'd be like, don't believe your own BS. You're like, screw you, old man, and your crusty beard. You're an idiot. So I had to overcome that fat ego I had.
Yeah. Well, I realized that when I came to work in the legal field, I am surrounded by ego, which makes everyone here extremely good at their craft. But one of our tenets here, one of our main core principles is we try and make decisions on science and data and not fear or ego. And I think ego, it can be such a detrimental thing to any business owner or entrepreneur. And obviously you are, kind of a living example of that.
Yeah. I think we all are ultimately. I mean, ego is wonderful because it gives us confidence, but when it's without control or constraint, it can go wild. So I think this constant self-reflection and evaluation is very important for ourselves, and maybe it presents itself in different ways. I did find it a question, and what I asked myself, is this really true? And then I had to look at the facts. So if I think I'm great at public speaking, I'm the best public speaker in the world, I asked myself, is this really true? And what's the data that proves that? And that's served me well in kind of tempering. The ego's still there.
It has to be.
Yeah, right. I just try to control it, because unwieldy, out of control, it's destroyed me once really much. Pretty hard in my business life. I'm not gonna let that happen again.
Mike, my sense, and this might be a bias because I'm in a profession, but my sense is that Profit First really resonated with a lot of professionals, doctors, dentists, lawyers. First of all, I'm just interested to know if you found that. And secondly, if that's right, why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's really resonated with the professionals of the world. Interestingly, I'm going to a law conference to speak with lawyers on this exact subject in a couple months. Not in Denver, but I think the reason it lands with professionals is Profit First is if I may, it's a radically simple system, yet it's extremely effective. Most professionals are so, and this is a generalization, but so capable at their craft that the flip side is they have shortcomings and weaknesses in the other elements of their business management and so forth. I surely did. And I'm doing air quotes, professional in computer services. I dedicated everything to learning every element about how a computer works and how to manage it, but I had no idea how to manage cash flow in my business. So what I did with Profit First is I analyzed how I was naturally managing my business. And I think this is one of the better and more important behavioral tricks we can all benefit from, irrespective if you use Profit First or anything else. And what it is, it's called a commitment device. So in behavioral psychology is that the common belief and conclusion is that if we want to change something in our lives, a habit or something, it is very difficult to break an existing pattern. So an example of this is about 15, 20 years ago, I used to play sports in college, and after that, I was like, I'm never going to exercise again. And that didn't work out so well. So about 20 years ago, I said, I'm going to commit to exercise. And the way to do it is willpower, of course. So next morning I wake up and early in the morning, I have this massive workout. I'm going to do this every single day and get back in shape. And willpower is great for the first iteration. But on day 2, I'm sore. I'm like, oh, I forgot how hard this is. I'll just take the day off. And the pattern broke immediately. And there was no pattern established. But I did something interesting. I said, why am I not working out? And what I noticed is I'd wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, I make a cup of coffee, I start scrolling through the news. And it was during this recurring habitual pattern that I was not able to break out and do the new thing. So I set up a commitment device. And what it was I put my sneakers on my toilet seat at my house. And my wife was not thrilled, and I still do it, and she's still not happy, but gosh, it works. When I wake up, I go to the bathroom. The only way to use that toilet is by grabbing my sneakers. It's forced. So my pattern, my behavior stays the same, but there is some mechanism that directs me. It starts giving me a little bit of momentum toward where I want to go. And with sneakers in my hand, I can't deny that I want to work out. I put them on my feet. I walk over to the gym. It's not always an extremely great workout, but I never miss. So with Profit First, what I realized is most professionals are great at their craft, but not at managing a business necessarily. And we try to use this willpower. I got to go to accounting classes. I need to learn leadership skills. And I call BS on that. Instead, I say, well, what do you normally do? And what most people do is they log into their bank accounts for their business. They see how much money they have, and they determine how to run their business based upon their bank balance. We don't read accounting statements and all that stuff necessarily. So what I tell people is, well, don't try to learn more. Instead, if you're already logged into your bank accounts, let's set up multiple accounts at your bank with labels that show its intention. One is for the payroll for the company. One is for the operations and administrative fees. One is to pay for the taxes that you as a business owner are going to incur. One's to pay your salary. One's for profit. If you have to buy equipment or something, like when I work with manufacturers, you may have an account that says equipment. And then when money flows into the organization, we carve it up on a percentage, sometimes a fixed dollar, but a percentage basis to these different accounts. And now when you log into your bank, something you normally do, those sneakers are on your toilet seat because you have to face the numbers and understand what they're going to be used for because it's been pre-allocated. Now, you can still break the system and steal from one account to another, but you can no longer deny that you're breaking the system. So that's why this works. It works with our natural behavioral pattern.
You have a book coming out. It may be out by the time this podcast airs. It's coming out in the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
And am I right that book is really more focused on personal financial health than business, than entrepreneurship? Is that right?
That's exactly right, Taylor. The book's called The Money Habit.
And why did you decide to make that change, to focus on people's personal financial health?
Oh, that's such a great question. So I am so happy and excited that we have over 1.1 million businesses that have deployed Profit First. This is work I wrote 12 years ago now, and it's in different countries and so forth. And I get to travel, like I'm going to Denver, to meet with entrepreneurs. And in many cases, they've deployed the system. And I would argue in the majority, they've improved their financials substantially. And the reason is because of what we talked about. But I found there's another problem. I found that some business owners have improved their business substantially financially, but their home finances are not so strong. And what happens is the home leeches off the business. The business is crushing it, lifestyle expands uncontrolled, and it leaches off the business, and both collapse. And I've seen the reverse too. I've seen people who've prepared for their future, have secured, live within their means very effectively and happily, and they start a business that's struggling, and the business leeches off the home, and both collapse. So that was my aha, that if you're a business owner, you need to nail the numbers on both fronts. And that's why I wrote the book.
Need help on a complex personal injury or medical malpractice case? Gideon Asen accepts case referrals and regularly co-counsels with lawyers nationwide on high-value claims. The firm has recovered millions of dollars in cases that competitors turned away because they dig deeper. Ready to learn more? Email bgideon@gideonasenlaw.com to start the conversation. Gideon Asen shares fees as permitted by the laws of each state. Don't let complex cases overwhelm your practice. Elevate justice together with Gideon Asen.
That's really interesting. I know that you had some appearances with Dave Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
Who I got really into listening to Dave Ramsey. I mean, partly because he's a great radio personality, and
such a great orator. Yeah,
and the stories. I mean, the ways the messes people get themselves into are just incredible. It's almost like it makes you feel better about yourself. But
a little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting space to go into. I see a lot of similarities between you two, actually. I mean, you both have sort of very simple systems that can really radically change your behavior.
And I hope that's what people see, is that when I wrote The Money Habit, my intentionality behind it is that it's a foundational system. It's rooted in what we discussed. There's other elements to it, but foundationally, if you log into your bank account, don't try to change yourself. Channel that. Do more of that. And we're going to set up these multiple accounts. It's the envelope system. And it's just translated to the bank level. Dave's work, he's famous for the snowball effect and all these other ways of managing debt, works in concert with it. But there's other programs and systems out there. There's a thing called YNAB, You Need a Budget. It works with that. Rocket Money is being marketed like crazy right now. It works with that. So this is simply cash flow management. And then there's these budgeting mechanisms that are out there that I really don't focus in on. And I think it complements those programs. I had the privilege, I met with Dave out at his house. I'll never forget it. He's down in Franklin, Tennessee. It's outside of Nashville. And I'm driving up and I'm with a driver. And I said, oh, I've never been to Dave Ramsey's house. We go past these gates and stuff. And I said, is it past that hotel? And he goes, that hotel's his house. So yeah, I was out there. He was having this amazing cigar and whiskey party. And it was just amazing to spend some time with him face to face. But it was also good to see that here's a guy who set up a system that transformed his life. And even at that degree of financial success, he's still adhering to the system. It works at any income level.
And whatever you want to say about him, I mean, it's some of my friends who are in finance would make fun of me for listening to him, but I mean, he's changed a lot of people's lives as of you, and that's
changed my life. I use this system too.
That's great.
He's extraordinary, and I was blessed to then be on his show. We did some live broadcasts. I actually keynoted at Entree Leadership at his organization, and it's fabulous what they've done. And
that's great.
It transforms lives. I think no system's perfect. That includes mine. And I hope it's going to serve people. And I know people will be critical of it. I don't think there's a single system that serves every single human. So I think with Profit First, the Money Habit, Dave's system, all these things, we got to find what lands with us. Because when we're in our natural flow, I have a friend, sadly he passed away, but he would always say, the key to life is row your boat gently downstream. He's like, whatever your natural flow is, go with it and you'll travel so much further.
Mike, I read a quote by you, and I'll get to my question, but I'll paraphrase the quote. You were talking about some family moments. I think you were visiting your daughter, and you wrote, "It hit me again while I was there. This is real wealth, not numbers in a bank account, not bigger offices or fancier titles. It's being able to be with the people you love, fully present."
Yeah.
So my question is, and we realized this actually when we were in Denver this past week, we're very good at setting monetary goals. We're very good at setting revenue numbers and qualified cases and everything. But we realized we needed to set a greater goal or mission as to why we exist as a company. And I guess how important is that for an entrepreneur starting out? Because everyone runs to that monetary goal first.
Yeah, because it's easy to measure.
Right.
I was there too. And the challenge is when you get there, it's never, at least for me, it's never been enough. It's like, oh, well, okay, I got there. And it's kind of a deflating moment. It's like, oh, I finally became, a millionaire. Oh, I finally became a decamillionaire. It all sounds amazing when you're not there. And then you get there, it's like, that's all there is. I remember there's a video that circulated, this meme about a valedictorian, and this graduate achieved all these extraordinary accomplishments at his university. And he's doing the speech. And he says, when I was declared valedictorian, he goes, I was thrilled. This was a life's dream. And I was thrilled for 15 seconds and said, so now what? And so my experience around money is it is a great mechanism to amplify who I am, and perhaps you. And maybe not a great analogy, but if someone has an addiction of some capacity and you simply say, here's your cure, here's more money, I think that addiction actually amplifies. If I like the bottle, I'll buy a lot more bottles. And if you're someone who is driven to be very present with your family or whatever capacity it is, and you throw money toward that person likely will use those funds to amplify that, quote, addiction. I realized the goal for money to accumulate more money without a greater vision behind it was fruitless. And so I'll show you. I'm actually in my home office right now because I'm flying out. I write down, this is a little bit absurd, I did a personal retreat, not a business retreat, but this says Mike Michalowicz Life's Intentions 2026. I write down everything around my health, my family, and being present.
Do you share that with somebody to keep
I
you sort
rarely
of
share
honest? Oh,
I
interesting.
rarely share. My wife knows it. I have it pinned here, so if someone walks in my office, you can see it. But I get very real with myself. I ask myself, is this true, as we talked about earlier? And so I challenge myself in many ways. But in there, inevitably, is presence, being with my family. And I call them remember whens. I think the day that I leave this planet and expire, that what will be left over is remember whens. That I hope my children outlive me by decades and decades and decades. But I hope also they go, oh, remember when Dad and we went for that hike? My son is interested in doing the Appalachian Trail, the entire trail. And I'm like, and we've already done sections of it together. It's grueling, by the way, but amazing. And it's triggered remember whens. And so I write down all these things that will be future remember whens. And money is an extraordinary gateway and tool to make those things more accessible, easier to accomplish, easier to get. There's no question about it. But money for the sake of money, for me, and that's how I lived for quite a period of my life, was just a big flop.
Before you have to go, Mike, I wanted to ask you quickly about Clockwork, which I have to admit I haven't read, in part because of this issue. As a professional, as a lawyer, it's very hard for me to imagine the idea of, growing your business and then being able to step away.
Yeah.
Right. We don't make a widget. So it feels like the idea that I will ever be able to really step away from doing the making seems implausible. Yeah. Does the book Clockwork apply to professionals or just not really?
100%. Since we're short on time, I'll tell you the kind of the definitive thing is it's about identity. Are you a lawyer or are you someone who owns a law firm? And those are two radically different things. What I tell people is, in the grand scheme, is the facts. Only 17% of the population ever attempts to start a business. Only 20% pull it off successfully, sustainably, for an extended period of time, profitably. That's 3% of the population. That means 97% of the population is looking for good jobs with good companies to do good things. The number one job of a business owner is not to do the job, it's to create jobs. And that's what Clockwork's about. Our job, and I would argue your job, if you choose so, is not to do the job, to create jobs. And if we're doing the job, we're blocking other people from doing the job. But it is a massive mental shift. And I had to go through it. And I remember once I actually pulled this off, and there's steps to getting there. I removed myself. I went on a long vacation, not because I needed a vacation. The business needed a vacation from me. Identity crisis hit and said, am I a business owner or am I a business doer? And I had to come to that realization that I'm choosing to be a business owner. No question. I still do things I love. I'm honored you guys interviewed me. Like, this is still, quote, work. But if I left for a month or a year and I just got back from taking a month off, my business will continue on because I've chosen to be a business owner.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know we have a hard out, Mike. I don't know if no, that's good. Do you want to remind people about your upcoming book again and the name and where they can grab it?
So Jeff, Taylor, but thank you both for having me. I really appreciate this. The new book's called The Money Habit. It's everywhere. Whoever your favorite retailer is, you can get it. I encourage people, if you like or have a local bookstore, go to them. Let's support local bookstores. And if they don't have it in stock, just ask them. They can get it shipped to you. And then if you want more information on me, my last name Michalowicz is impossible to spell. So my website's Mike Michalowicz. Forget it. I bought the domain Mike Motorbike. It's a nickname from grade school. It's the only PG nickname. I have other nicknames. They ain't PG. But if you go to Mike Motorbike, like the motorcycle, you'll get my information there.
Great. Mike,
awesome.
If you do the Appalachian Trail,
yes,
we're up here in Maine.
We're at the end.
You call us ahead of time. You can either stay at our house, we could do food drops for you. We'll make sure you're in a good place. Showers.
I'm about to tear up. Yeah, food angels are miraculous when you're on the trail. I've done now 15 days on the trail in segments, but we're doing the Georgia to Maine hike.
Awesome.
Well, I'm not joking. Take us up on it. We'll take care of you.
I'm not joking either. I'll eat you out of house and home.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for listening to Elevate, Build and Grow Your Law Firm. Share with colleagues if you found it valuable. Remember, building a successful law firm takes discipline, strategy, and determination. But you're not alone. Produced and powered by Law Pods.